and girls, Miss Kostelec here, and I want to do some volcano science with you. Now, volcanoes are very interesting, and they can be spectacular when they're erupting. Now, I happen to have, from our kindergarten science things, we have a model, and a model is like a little replica that you can see what something looks like. Now, a volcano, you might think, well, that mountain was always there. No, volcanoes start deep, 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 deep inside the earth where there's hot, hot rock. So hot that it forms something called magma, which is melted rock. And sometimes pockets of that magma will be underneath the earth's surface. Now, if it breaks through, that opening is called a crater. And you can see this actually has a little hole in it, which is a crater. That's the opening where the magma comes out. Once the magma touches the air and you can see it, it's lava. So it's come up from the center of the earth, or deep, deep, deep in the earth. And that tube that it follows is called a lava tube. Now, they can be pretty amazing. Sometimes the lava is under pressure. Maybe it's under deep, 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 deep under rock that's hardened over hundreds of years. And when those break through, it can be really spectacular with rock and steam and lava just shooting out. But sometimes, like in Hawaii, Mauna Loa, which is the tallest volcano on Earth, that one, it just comes out and it just oozes down the sides like melted butter or like syrup. So you don't have to have one of these. You can make your own. We made this one out of clay. I used a bowl and put some of that plasticine clay with a little Dixie cup in the center. You need a little opening at the top. We used to always use our sandbox and we build a little mountain. If you have a sandbox or you have a bunch of rocks or a dirt pile that you can play in, you can make a mountain shape with a little hole in the top. Now, what you need for our experiment today, you need vinegar, and I've poured some in a pitcher because it's easier for me to use. You need baking soda, the kind that Mom makes biscuits or cookies with from your kitchen. And it's nice to have a little bit of food dye too. So we're gonna go ahead and see what happens. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take my big one and I'm gonna put my volcano in there so we don't make a big mess in my kitchen. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm gonna put some of this in there. And if you make your own and you're pouring this in a Dixie cup, halfway up the little Dixie cup. You don't need a lot. But you will need to put your vinegar in something that's easier to pour because this is too heavy. So I'm going to pour some in. I'm going to see what happens. Oh, I might want it to be colored. So sometimes we'll put this food dye in the vinegar, or sometimes you can just drop it on top of the baking soda. And I'm going to go ahead and pour some in, and hopefully you can see the cool reaction. Ooh, that was good. And then after it slows down a little, you can do it again. Because there's still lots and lots of baking soda deep inside of my lava tube in my model. So remember, when the rock is super hot under the Earth's surface, that's magma. But when it comes out, it's lava. Now, that's pretty cool, and you can do that at home with very simple ingredients: baking soda, food coloring, and vinegar. But I wanted to also try something else. Now, obviously, what we're doing right here isn't real lava, right? We're just making a model of how a volcano works. And we're using some chemicals that have a chemical reaction, like on some of our other science days. So we have baking soda, which is bicarbonate of soda, and then we have vinegar. Now, when you add vinegar to baking soda, amazing thing happens. It changes, it's a chemical reaction, and it changes what's happening. So the baking soda breaks up. So we have sodium, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen in baking soda. And when you add the vinegar to it, you have them break up and the carbon and the oxygen separate and they form all this gas, a carbon dioxide gas, and that makes the bubbles. But it also can do some other cool things. So before I leave you, I want to show you something else. So we had our volcanoes, we learned a little about volcano science, but then I have these cups with some baking soda in them as well. And I thought it would be fun to put some green food dye and some yellow food dye, and I better put those out of the way, and some red food dye, and some blue. And we'll go ahead and we'll add that vinegar and see what happens with our cups. I bet it's going to do the same thing. We're going to have a little reaction. So let me go ahead and add. Oh, that's pretty. So we had blue, red, yellow, and green. Let me try it. Let me do some more. You can just keep on adding it. It just keeps on overflowing. It makes a little rainbow. Super cool. It'd be best to do this experiment outside, but today we have a little bit of rain, so I'm inside. Because I put enough in my cups, I can just keep on making it happen. Very cool. I hope you're having fun watching my science, and I hope you get to do a little with mom and dad at home. See you, boys and girls.